Okay, let's do this thing! In the deepest recesses of the Congo rainforest, where gnarled vines intertwine and ancient spirits linger, lies a forgotten relic of the colonial era, the abandoned St. Catherine's Mission Church. Its crumbling walls and weed-choked compound whisper tales of a bygone age when missionaries battled not just paganism but something far more sinister, something born of the darkest depths of human ambition and sacrifice. It is here, in this forsaken place, that a modern-day historian named Elijah Okafor hopes to uncover the truth behind the church's eerie reputation. The locals speak of a mourning phantom nun who haunts the church grounds, her presence heralded by the scent of damp earth and the sound of her mournful weeping. They call her Sister Agatha, and they warn Elijah to steer clear of her path, for she is restless and her sorrow runs deep. As if these chilling tales weren't enough, there's another layer to this mystery. Every full moon, villagers claim that the church is bathed in an eerie red glow, as though the very ground beneath it is soaked in blood. And those who witness it say that the sight drives men mad. Elijah, however, is not one to heed superstitious warnings. Armed with his camera equipment and a thirst for knowledge, he ventures into the overgrown compound of St. Catherine's, determined to document its decay and separate fact from fiction. What he doesn't know is that he is about to awaken a nightmare from which he may never fully awaken. Stepping across the threshold of the decaying church, Elijah feels a sudden chill despite the stifling heat. The air inside is thick with the scent of mildew and decay, and the only light comes from slivers of sun piercing through gaps in the crumbling roof. As his eyes adjust to the gloom, he notices strange symbols carved into the walls. A macabre blend of European crosses and pre-colonial African iconography. Something about the place feels deeply unsettling, as though the very stones themselves are watching them. Suddenly, a draft of air sweeps through the church, stirring up dust and dead leaves. Then, just as abruptly, it vanishes. Was it simply a trick of the wind or something more sinister? Then Elijah spots it, a loose brick concealed behind a tattered tapestry. With careful fingers, he probes behind it and discovers a hollow space. Inside, he finds a weathered, leather-bound journal and a small key. The journal, he soon realizes, is the diary of Father Bennett, a missionary who served at the church in the late 19th century. Its pages are filled with not only accounts of his religious duties, but also disturbing references to a heretic nun and a hidden crypt beneath the altar. The key, he surmises, must open the crypt's entrance. Guided by the cryptic clues in Father Benedict's journal, Elijah locates the entrance to the crypt concealed beneath the altar. The key fits perfectly into the time-worn lock, and with a low grinding sound, the heavy stone door begins to turn. As he steps into the crypt, the scent of damp earth and decay envelops him, torch in hand. He navigates the narrow passageway until he reaches a chamber illuminated by an eerie green glow emanating from a large iron chest at its far end. On the chest, he notices strange markings, identical to those he saw earlier on the church walls. This, he understands, is the resting place of Sister Agatha. With trembling hands, Elijah throws open the chest. Inside, nestled on a bed of velvet, is a small leather-bound book, Agatha's. As he carefully opens it, he sees a collection of handwritten notes, diagrams, and sketches, all detailing dark and forbidden rituals. One entry in particular catches his eye. It speaks of a ritual called eternal binding, a means by which one could tether their soul to a sacred place, effectively achieving a form of immortality. According to the text, the ritual required the sacrifice of innocent blood, a terrible price to pay for eternal existence. Could this be the reason for Agatha's haunting? A desperate attempt to free herself from the curse she had placed upon herself? As Elijah delves deeper into Agatha's grimoire, he uncovers a horrifying truth. The eternal binding ritual was not merely a figment of her imagination. It was a real and terrifying practice rooted in both European occultism and pre-colonial African rite. But what was the catalyst that drove her to such extreme measures? To find the answer, Elijah must explore not just the church's crypt and chamber, but also the history of the Congo under colonial rule. What he discovers is a tale of immense suffering and resilience. Under the brutal regime of King Leopold II, the people of the Congo were subjected to unimaginable horrors, forced labor, starvation, and the deliberate destruction of their cultural heritage. In the face of such adversity, some turned to desperate measures, seeking solace and power in the forbidden arts. Among them was Agatha, whose thirst for knowledge and power led her to study ancient burial grounds and forgotten texts. She learned of a ritual that allowed one to bind their soul to a sacred site, tethering them to life even after death. But in a horrifying twist, the ritual demanded a terrible price: the life essence of others. And Agatha, driven by a mixture of grief, anger, and desperation, agreed to pay it. As the full moon rises, bathing the crypt in its eerie glow, Agatha's restless spirit manifests before Elijah, her form coalescing from the shadows like smoke given shape by the moonlight. Her eyes, burning orbs of malevolent energy, fix on Elijah, and a mournful cry, tears from her spectral lips. Though he is terrified, Elijah stands his ground, drawing strength from his ancestors and the protective charms hidden beneath his clothes. As Agatha advances, he chants ancestral prayers, forming a barrier of spiritual energy that repels her. Startled by this unexpected resistance, the ghost recoils momentarily, giving Elijah time to escape the crypt before she can regain her senses. Back in the safety of the village, Elijah shares his harrowing experience with the local elders, showing them the grimoire and explaining what he has learned of Agatha's past. Together, they realize the danger that still lingers. Despite the distance between the living and the dead, Agatha's soul remains tethered to the church, sustained by the fear and despair she inflicts on those around it. The elders, keepers of the village's ancient traditions, understand the gravity of the situation. They know that Agatha's binding ritual was performed beneath the church's altar, in the very heart of the building she once called a sanctuary. As long as her presence is allowed to corrupt that place, her grip on the village will remain unbroken. With the support of the elders, Elijah returns to St. Catherine's Church. This time, however, he is not alone. Several villagers accompany him, their faces grim with determination. Guided by the elders, they gather around the altar and begin a ritual of their own. A ceremony designed to reinforce the wards that protect the village from the darkness beneath. Incantations rise and fall, echoing the rhythms of the drums. And as the moon climbs higher in the sky, the villagers pour libations of water and sand onto the altar, reaffirming the bonds that tied them to their ancestors and their land. Through this ceremony, they are not just warding off Agatha's influence, they're also honoring the memory of those who suffered under her curse, ensuring that their stories and sacrifices are not forgotten. As the first rays of dawn pierce to the canopy above, Agatha's spirit appears one last time. Her form flickers a wounded animal caught in the dawning light. She speaks, her voice a hollow whisper, and warns Elijah that time erodes all bindings. Even the bravest heroes forget their oaths over the years, but she admits that as long as the story survives, there is hope to keep her darkness chained. With that final pronouncement, she fades into nothingness, leaving behind the lingering scent of damp earth. And as the sun rises higher in the sky, casting away the shadows of the night, the villagers return to their daily lives, forever bound to their land and to each other, their spirits strengthened by the shared ordeal and the enduring power of their culture. The crisis averted. For now, Elijah prepares to leave the village. He has uncovered the truth behind the haunting of St. Catherine's Church and the legend of the nun. But as he bids farewell to the elders, they remind him that their victory was not just his, but everyone's. The fight against forces born of exploitation and blood is a battle for all of humanity, and it must be fought on every front. So long as there are those who seek power through fear and oppression, there will always be those who resist, tethering their souls not to places of worship, but to the principles of freedom equality, and justice. And with that, Elijah departs, carrying with him not just the memories of the village, but a renewed sense of purpose. His journey to document a forgotten church has become a journey of discovery, self-empowerment, and the fight for a better world. The story of Whispers from the Haunted Church serves as a powerful reminder that the pursuit of knowledge and the respect for cultural heritage are not just academic pursuits, but essential tools in the struggle for justice and freedom. Just as Elijah and the villagers of Kasima confronted the darkness of their past head-on, we too must confront the shadows that linger in our own histories and the biases that shape our understanding of the world. Only by acknowledging and learning from these shadows can we truly move towards a brighter future. One where respect for all cultures and a thirst for knowledge guide our path.